You're listening to Buttersworth Brigade, the only podcast that can be found on the internet.
Welcome everybody. It is January 12th, I believe. It's some sort of day of the week, and I'm Ryan West, and this is Buttersworth Brigade. Who is with me today? Either one of you can talk.
I'll go first. I'm Andrew. I'm the better of the co-hosts.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Eli.
I think you're just better of the hosts. I don't think you can be better of the... Okay, that's fine. That's perfect. Hey, Eli. All right. What are we talking about today, everybody? What's going on? What has gone on these last? It's been about a week and a half since we did our last podcast. What is there to talk about? Andrew, do you have an idea?
Well, one of the reasons it's been a week and a half is because two of us were away on a trip. So.
Oh, a trip.
There's the topic.
A trip. What kind of trip? What kind of trip is this, Andrew? What kind of magic trip is this?
Well, for those who don't know, which is probably everybody, MagFest is a somewhat small, obscure convention, I suppose, and we were there, so we should talk about it.
Yes, let us. So MagFest, it is the music and gaming festival. It took place in National Harbor, Maryland, which is right outside of D.C., and it was a blast. It was a blast. I guess we'll just talk about what we saw there and some of our thoughts. Well, I guess let's just talk about the whole card. What? What is the whole card? Let's talk about the facts, I guess. I don't know what I was talking about. Facts. Right. So there was music. There were some pretty good concerts there. Andrew and I saw this band Bit Brigade, I believe. Yeah, Bit Brigade. And they played some Mega Man soundtrack while somebody did a speed run of Mega Man live, which was pretty darn fancy.
It was fancy, and I should probably mention that MagFest, did you mention this? It's Music and Gaming Fest, so this whole music aspect did not just come out of nowhere. The context is, it's about music and gaming.
I did mention that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's true. It's true. It is not a gaming festival, and then with some music, there is quite a bit of music. Actually, the composer of Final Fantasy, his band was actually there, which we did not get a chance to hear, but I heard was actually really great. It was fantastic, in fact. So, but yeah,
who did you hear that from?
I heard it from people. Why?
Fair enough.
Why? Did you hear something different?
No, I just didn't hear anything because we didn't talk to too many people.
Oh, no. This is a good time to plug in thegamerstudio.com. Some great people from there went, and they had some comments about MagFest. So if you went to MagFest and want to talk about it, there were people there. If you guys don't want to go to the forums and talk to people about it. But yeah, that's where I read that. Psychopath. But yeah, they're really good concerts. But now for the gaming aspect, what was there, Andrew?
I believe games of all kinds.
Okay.
If I were to list them, it would take all night. So I will just not and say there was a room of arcade games, probably almost every arcade game you can imagine, all the old machines.
Except for Sinistar.
Except Sinistar,
yes.
Which was a disappointment. And then, of course, the other side of the room was all more modern games, ranging from the PlayStation 2 to the current Xbox 360 generation.
Yeah, we got a chance to play like 3 hours of DJ Hero, which was looking back on it, a waste of time. But at the time, it was great. And yeah, so basically, it was just this one big room with a divider down the middle, and one side was this retro games, like the arcade style games, and then also the free play. There was tons of TVs and stuff, and that was like the free play of the newer stuff. But I mean, even the new stuff, it went back to GameCube, and there's some PS1. There's even a little bit of Atari. So, but then on the other side, you had another half and half set up, but no divider in between. But it's all one big room, all 4 sections of this. Then there's tabletop gaming on the other side. There's quite a bit of that. There were so many games, and it was like this cool community thing where people just brought their own games, and which is everything is, by the way, like this. All of the systems that were brought and all the games that were brought were not like sponsored or paid for by anybody, but it's people's personal collection that they wanted to bring in and share at this big LAN, I guess.
I did notice certain arcade machines that say donated by whatever podcast. And I have to ask, why did we not donate a machine?
It might be because we don't own one, but no, it's just that. Next year we'll donate our hundreds, actually, that are in storage, if we wanted. But yeah, the arcade games, I can imagine, might have been rented, possibly, but then, yeah, some are brought to by certain people. But yeah, so then there's the tabletop, which was just a bunch of tables and a bunch of board games brought in by people. And then behind that was the computer LAN, and you could bring your own computer, and there was a bunch of tables set up and hook it up. But then there was also, I think their name was Landslide. That's very funny. It was a local computer LAN like shop where you can go in and pay for internet and have a nice little fun LAN time there. And they set up some computers for free, which was really cool. So if you didn't bring any of your computers, you could still play with people and get on, do whatever you wanted in your adventures on any game that you might play. A lot of people playing League of Legends. 90% of people playing League of Legends, of course. And then, of course, there was the marketplace area where there was a lot of really cool stuff there. Andrew, do you want to go through some of the cool stuff you saw at the marketplace?
Yes. I guess I'll start with... Well, I mean, there's clothes. There's always clothes. A lot of things you can find on sort of geek accessory websites. But I think the more cool stuff was I guess you could say, homemade artwork and accessories. Stuff ranging from, hats to full-on paintings to even bead art, if people are familiar with that, where you iron beads together. Just all sorts of knickknacks that, range in price. And I think mostly everything was negotiable. So it was just really cool to walk around and talk to the people who were selling their stuff and sort of chat them up and not only get to know them, but maybe walk away with some of their cool stuff. There were even, game demos from really small game developers trying to get their games on Steam.
Yeah, we had played
The Wave Cave.
Yeah, was it called The Wave Cave?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, all right. Well, yeah, it was just a really fun game. We tried it out. They had a little petition going to get their game on Steam. And, yeah, it was really cool. There was a lot of people there also in the marketplace who actually weren't selling anything, like people from Otakon, the anime convention, just trying to get people to go to that. So it was a really cool, just area to walk around sometimes. And depending on what day you went or what time you went during the day, there'd be different people there, or some shops would be closed, some open, so... It was a really cool marketplace, I have to admit. There was quite a bit of stuff there that I wanted to buy. I didn't actually walk away with too much. That's okay, though. Other than that, what do we have? Oh yeah, and in the marketplace there's musicians who are trying to sell their CDs and get their name out there. There was one guy there who I have to have a special shout-out for. Andrew, do you know who that is?
Of course, the Mr. Saxophone, the one and only.
He was playing some Zelda, some Mario Kart,
Metroid.
Yes, he was playing Metroid, and he was playing it for 4 days straight. I mean, I was there for a while. We were there for the full 4 days, and you're pretty much just in this one room. I mean, there's a divider, but it's all still one room. And he was there playing saxophone a lot.
It was nonstop.
It was practically nonstop. I mean, at 3 a.m., you'd be like, oh, I guess he packed away. Then all of a sudden he'd come out and start playing and be like, where did he... How? How can he have this endurance? But it was really cool.
You could say he played saxophone for 3 days every day. Or 4 days every day.
Yes, you could say that if you wanted.
One thing, beyond just talking about the sort of content there, I think one of the more unique things about this convention was that it took place in the hotel that everyone stayed in. And not only that, it took place in sort of a a touristy town that
Mm-hmm.
existed purely based on tourism. So the whole experience was sort of like living in a geek society where even if you weren't at the convention, just being in the hotel, there's all geek culture there. And then even walking outside, the whole town was pretty much dominated by the people at the convention. So it was like living in a society, I guess.
Yeah, it felt like some weird commune where everyone was just really into some geeky stuff. So it was like a really awesome environment. And I guess I'll just give you a quick rundown of where we're staying at. It's called National Harbor, and it was the Gaylord Resort. So it was like not just a hotel. Like this place was pretty amazing. They had like some like balls and stuff, like full on like princess balls or whatever. There's like people in like masquerade coming in while we're all like. There's like a bunch of people cosplaying and stuff. So it was a really interesting experience. But yeah, I mean, like clearly we were all like underdressed and looking silly to them. But like the hotel was just like, for the price that we paid, it was like well beyond what anyone was expecting, I think. And just the entire town was like so new and just so nice. There was very little like traffic stuff, like traffic lights and stuff until you got to the edge of the city, and it just felt like a really awesome place. It's like MagFest was inside the hotel, but like you had this whole area to just like be around awesome people the whole weekend. So that was pretty amazing. Anything else about MagFest? We can get.
I want to open this opportunity for Eli to be asking questions because he's been sitting ever so patiently.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's still paying attention right now, Eli, do you have any questions?
Was it fun?
No.
It was
No. Yes, it was a lot of fun. It was tiresome because it was 4 days long, and it wasn't a situation where you had to stay at the convention, so you could kind of go up and down to your room and back down a lot. So you'd think that would make it less tiresome, but really it felt like 8 days there, just because like you could go back and forth a lot. It was crazy. It just felt like a really long time, but that's not like always a bad thing. I mean, it was a great place to be, so I don't know why feeling like a long time would be a bad thing. But by the end, I was pretty dead tired, sore feet, you know. I slept for like 18 hours or some stuff. I don't know. It was crazy, though.
I guess one thing I also want to bring up about the convention is we didn't go to too many panels, but we went to one.
Uh-huh.
And it was pretty fun because it was, I believe, John St. John. Is that his name?
Yep, John
That sounds
St.
right.
John.
John St. John, the ever famous voice of Duke Nukem. So it was cool to see him just, I guess, enjoying his small amount of fame that he has among the crowd. But I mean, it was the right crowd for him to be there because everyone loved him. So
Yeah,
and he was just a totally cool guy who was all up for hanging out with just the people there.
Yeah, it was super personal, too. I mean, like, he's been to at least in one other MagFest. It seemed like he had been to multiple. But he had, like people got up and asked questions, and, like, he remembered them. It wasn't a sort of situation where we're all watching, like, this great god who was Duke Nukem. But it was, like, you were able to party with him. Like, he wanted to. And, like, there was a lot of, like, close connections that made there. Between people who you would think would just sort of be, like, famous. Like, oh, I'm paid to go here. But, like, he was psyched to be at MagFest. So, it was a really good environment.
And you didn't hear it from us, but he did mention something about Half-Life 3 coming out this year.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why he would know that, besides working on some Valve games.
He's really close to Valve people, and he might be voicing... I'm hoping he's voicing Gordon Freeman.
That would be the greatest reveal.
Yes. But it was just a little aside. I don't know if we're already supposed to know that, or I don't know if I was just walking up after the panel, and he was just like, well, I can tell you that Half-Life 3 is coming out this year. It's like, what? Which I wasn't aware of.
And if this does happen, I want you to remember, you heard it here first.
Yep.
And we were completely confident that it was happening.
100% confident.
If it doesn't happen, you didn't hear it from us.
Yeah, it was a joke. Anyway, yeah, but there were a lot of great panels. A lot of smaller stuff, I'd say. Some stuff that maybe I should have heard about that I had never heard about. And, yeah, like what you playing, Ash? Should I know what that is?
Hey Ash, what you playing? It's
Yeah,
on the
hey.
game trailers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like a series.
Yeah,
It's
see, I
kinda
wasn't
fun.
too familiar, but I'm sure like there are people who are like super psyched about going. Like I know that a lot of people were really digging it. So
Yeah, if I
yeah.
was there, I probably would have checked the Hop panel out.
Yeah, and the
Also,
panels.
extra credits thing because I like their series a lot.
Oh yeah. There was a whole lot of stuff, and there were like movies playing and series playing that you could go watch. The Angry Video Game Nerd had like 6 episodes or 10 episodes playing for like a sort of little panel thing, and
Cool.
but yeah, no, it was super cool, and it was really casual. Like the doors of the panels were like open the entire time, so you could like walk in, walk out. You didn't feel like you had to like stay. But why wouldn't you stay? It was good. But yeah, MagFest was overall amazing. I think it was really good. I think it's really good if you go with a lot of people, though. Is that a fair judgment?
Yes. Only because if you're there with one small group, you're doing sort of the same cycle of things over and over again. You'll move from the tabletops for a couple of hours to the arcade games.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you get sick of that, you'll check out the marketplace. And when you get sick of that, you'll move to the normal games. And I think it would mix it up a lot if you had a much larger group where you could sort of go through the permutations of hanging out with different people and doing different games with different people. Just keep it more fresh.
Yeah, I agree. And for tabletops, it comes in handy to have enough people in your group who are like I hate to say like bored, but I mean like you can't stand there for like 8 hours playing Donkey Kong. So it's like I mean like bored is really relative when you're at MagFest. Like you'll be bored of doing retro games, but like you'll still want to do something that's there. But if you want to start a game of I don't know, Monopoly, I'll just say, like, when you only have one other person, when you only have one other person in your, like, immediate group, like, you can't already play it, so you have to purposefully seek out people. But we didn't have any trouble finding other people to play any kind of game with. I guess...
Exactly. It was a really, I mean, as with pretty much all sort of geeky conventions, the communities are usually really, without a lot of people even knowing each other, already tight-knit, just because... You know, it's a subculture, and people are used to being ostracized for that type of stuff. So when everyone's together, everyone's really friendly. If you just grab a random game, someone from across the room will see it and then run up to you and say, "I'll join your game."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I guess I'm playing this.
On our last night there, we had picked out a game we've never heard of in our lives. Didn't know how to play it at all, and we had 2 people sit down with us who we didn't ask or anything. We were just looking at it, and they helped us play it, and it was a lot of fun. Got to meet some really cool people there. Yeah, I mean, like we met probably 6 people or something, and played like games with, which is a pretty like I don't want to say like intimate thing, but I mean like sitting down and playing a board game with someone is like not something you do with strangers a lot, but it's a great experience, I guess, because you get to like talk about what they're doing and what they're into, because you've already got this underlying like, all right, well, I mean, we clearly like something geeky, so let's get specific about what we like. So there's a lot to talk about and a lot of unique people there to meet. But yeah, MagFest, good. Any other questions, Eli? Or that
I didn't expect such a long answer from.
Well,
was it fun? I'm glad I got more information. No, I actually did want to hear about it.
Yeah, it just sparked. I mean, like it was 4 days, and like it all feels like a blur to me now. So like I don't know, I just like sparked.
Are you planning on going next year?
It's
or would it be something
possible
that you would want to do again?
Dude, if I could go without taking the train, I'm totally in every year forever. Because, I mean, like, the hotel was somewhat pricey. If you can get 4 people to go with you, the hotel's, like, manageable. You each pay for, like, less than a night, which is fine. But then, like, the train was more than the hotel was for us.
Damn.
So it was like, oh, God.
Why didn't you guys drive?
Yeah, that's a good question. Mainly because we had no idea where we were going, and we had never driven. Part of it was driving through D.C. during the time where we were going and stuff, so it was just like, let's just take the train.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be really easy, by the way. Getting there and back was like a very easy experience. So I'm kind of glad we took the train, but at the same time, for money, I guess I'll relate it. Like, we went to PAX last year. For anyone who doesn't know the Penny Arcade Expo, we went to the one on the East Coast. And that cost me less money than MagFest, but PAX is like this huge thing where there was like, I don't want to say much more to do, but there was much more to do. And there was like more reveals, there's cooler panels, there's just a lot of stuff. But I mean, like, they're totally different feels. I don't, like, it's not fair to compare them, but like, you'd think you'd be paying more for PAX.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. It's like, which did you like better? But
yeah, I mean, they're like really hard to compare. But, okay, you guys cut out for a sec. That was a little.
I didn't hear anything for like a minute. I thought my computer froze.
Happened to me too. Andrew, are you with us?
I'm still here.
Oh, darn it.
I'm not sure why. I haven't got my paycheck for last week yet, but I'm assuming it's just some sort of a mistake. But I'm sticking with it so far, so I'm still here.
Great. I don't even know what we're talking about. Yeah. So PAX and MagFest, Andrew, would you agree? Like, they're like pretty different things.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it depends. They had a lot of the same features. PAX had a retro room, but then again, PAX's retro room was way smaller than I think MagFest was. Maybe I'm misremembering.
And there was like 1/10 the amount of people at MagFest and there was. And no, you're not misremembering. That is absolutely true. I guess the highlight is MagFest is more of a LAN. Well, it's a LAN. There's pretty much no doubt about it. I mean, it's really just a lot of people playing video games. But like I guess for MagFest, like, you can sort of make it a good weekend or a bad weekend. But for PAX, it was literally like there were so many reveals and stuff. Like when we went, Portal 2 was like still not out. There wasn't much information. And, like, we got to see trailers and like the video of it. We got the t-shirt. We got a free shirt. But, like, that sort of stuff is, like, so unique. And you're not going to see that at MagFest. But, like, at PAX, there's so many people concerned with that, you don't get the same, like, meeting other people experiences, maybe. And
yeah, there was a tabletop area where you could do that, but it just wasn't nearly as much as the focus as it sounds like it was at MagFest. So you didn't get that sort of, like, new friends experience that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Also, one of the differences between the two is I brought up how the convention was in the hotel, so that made sort of the whole feel different for a few reasons. Mm-hmm. One being there was more of a community outside of the convention because just, the rest of the hotel you were still meeting people. And not only that, you could take breaks, you could do the convention in chunks, you could go down for a few hours in the morning, leave the convention, leave the hotel and get lunch, come back and hang in the room for a bit, then regroup and go back down the convention. With PAX, you pretty much woke up early, took a shuttle to the convention, then had to spend the whole day there, have all your meals there, and then make sure you get a shuttle back by like the end of the night.
Yeah, my days at PAX, I know you guys wimped out a little bit, but it was like 3 days of 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. days. It was like, this is outrageous.
You say I wimped out, but
I'm complaining.
I mean, well, I'm agreeing that I wimped out. Which is why I think
after like 14 hours.
Which is why I'm bringing up this aspect of MagFest as a pro, because I didn't need to wimp out. I was able to stay down there like much later, and I feel like I had more stamina throughout the whole thing, and I was able to enjoy more of the video games. Whereas at PAX, I was kind of ready to go back to the room at the end of the night.
Yeah, and I think what a cool experience was, like, you go up to the room at like 11 o'clock, you're like, man, I'm tired. You're sort of just sitting there talking, like, remembering, like, the day or whatever. If you guys were separated, you could talk about what you did. But then all of a sudden at 12, you're like, you know what? I kind of want to go play some Donkey Kong. And it was literally, you just go down an elevator and you can play some Donkey Kong on the arcade machines.
It wasn't 24/7, was it? Just went to like
it's 24/7.
Oh, really? That's all.
Yeah, all the machines are just hooked up and you can just go down and play. The marketplace, of course, a lot of it was closed, but I mean, some of it was open at 3 a.m. So I mean,
yeah, the shops usually close earlier than.
Yeah, because I mean, like, they're trying to sell stuff. There's no reason for them to be there.
Yeah, not many people want to buy a shirt at like 3 a.m. when they can wake up into it later.
Yeah, but I mean, that was one of the perks. Although it was still really crowded at like the 2 a.m. I think was one of the later times I was down there. But if you got there at like 8 a.m. you had free reign over any game you wanted, which was really cool. I guess we can talk about that. It was really crowded at some prime times.
Yeah.
If you wanted to like play something, it was dreadful. Sometimes, but I mean, you just understood that and worked your schedule around it, which was not a big deal. We never had an issue finding a tabletop, or like a table, I guess, which I found weird because it was always like, there's one table left, perfect. But
which is why I think, as far as managing the crowds, I think the more important thing is, I mean, this doesn't really have to do with the convention too much, but with doing meals. At least in National Harbor, there's only so many cheap places. The rest are really expensive tourist places. So, you know, around lunchtime, around dinner time, like the one cheap place in town would be packed and there's no way you were able to get in. So you sort of had to manage your time that way, try to plan out your meals so you're not eating the same places over and over again.
Yeah, we ate at like a nice little sandwich shop, which was good, by the way. It was good. But I mean, like, it could get really crowded. And there's this place called Elevation Burger, which we never got to go to, just because it was so immensely crowded. Like, it was crazy how crowded it was. But I mean, that's you can't really blame MagFest for it. I'd much rather have it there again than have it somewhere worse, but with like more restaurants. You know, like the restaurants wasn't really that big of a deal because we always got food. So it wasn't horrible. But as far as the arcade games, the like X-Men, like you have popular, what is it, 5 people can play X-Men?
I think it's 6.
6? Alright, yeah, either way, it was like impossible to get on, just because like it's a really fun game. And like it's so like, you can play with each other, so you kind of want to play it more. So that was sort of, I mean, you guys got to play it, right, Andrew?
Yeah, well, I sort of lucked into it. I came down, I knew Bo was down in the convention. I tried calling him, he didn't answer. I was looking for him. I was like, you know what, I know where he probably is, because he was looking at that X-Men game the whole weekend. So I walked there first, and there he is. And there happens to be one open spot, and the guy next to him just grabbed me and sort of forced me into the game. So I ended up playing the rest of the game with him. Grab Bo.
And part of the reason that was always full also is because the way it worked is like every machine had like 1 million credits because you could just keep hitting credit, and that one it's like 800. So every time you died, you'd come back to life. But if you only have 4 people playing, you'd have to still move that last person to like get over. So anytime there's an open spot, like people would just immediately get grabbed because it kind of ruined it if someone wasn't playing. So as soon as somebody dropped out, like it would just immediately fill up because then it sort of ruins the whole experience.
I also want to mention, Bo was another person who we went on the trip with. If for those who were confused, I was not just looking for some random guy.
Yeah, like where's Bo? That Frenchie is so, I don't know. Oh yeah, and also there we saw some pretty crazy stuff. DDR, there are some people who are pretty good at it. It wasn't DDR, it was like some other dance fiesta. That was it, I think. But this guy, he's like really good. We got to see some guy who was just crazy good at that. There's a game called Poppin' Music where you tap 9 different buttons. It's sort of like Guitar Hero, but there's just 9 buttons, and it's impossibly hard. And there are people who are just amazing at it. So you got to see some pretty unique stuff.
Well, beyond that unique stuff, there was, of course, the cosplaying stuff, which was exceptionally unique, as it always is. I gotta say my favorite was the old black guy dressed up as Mario. Now I know what Mario would look like as an old black man.
Was that the guy carrying the Mario on the back also?
Yeah, he was dressed up as Mario with like a Mario stuffed animal on his back, but he was also wearing a Nintendo Power Glove. So it was
he also had the duck hunt shooter. I can't remember the name that Nintendo uses, but the gun. Also, he had it tucked away.
It's like I guess it's as if Nintendo threw up on Morgan Freeman. That's what you get.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you that. I liked the girl who was dressed up like the White Mage. She was selling T-shirts, and she was really into it. We walk up to the T-shirt stand. No, it wasn't T-shirt. It was hats and T-shirts. And she's just like, "Hello and welcome to my store." And we just role played, except I didn't want to buy anything, so it was awkward. And then we left. But you know,
what's the White Mage from?
Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay. No wonder I've never heard of it. I thought it was. When I heard White Mage, I was like, Gandalf? What?
I think the impression that this and the last episode of our podcast are giving is that we don't play any games. It's like, oh, it's from Final Fantasy. You don't know what that is.
No, I'm just not into JRPGs.
Yeah, we play games, I can assure you. We recently finished Uncharted 3. Huh.
That was disappointing. Yeah. But it was fun up until the end.
Which, like, yeah, agreed. Yes, I want to tell the world how much I was disappointed. But overall, it was good. It wasn't
so, yeah, we're amending our review from last time. It's fun, and then you get to the ending, you're like, oh, what? But I thought there was going to be an interesting ending. Yeah. And Naughty Dog's like, sorry, no, now we're going for a corny romance. It's like, oh, great, thanks.
Yeah, so it wasn't terrible. The whole experience was enjoyable, so, it's just the end just sort of left a bad taste in our mouths. Plus, we played it all in one game, too. Okay, Andrew.
I would say if this was number 2, if this came out right after number 1, it would have gotten all the praise that number 2 got. And if number 2 came out as number 3, then that would have been then we would have been saying that was disappointing. It was the same as number 2, so you can only go so much higher than what they've already done last time.
You think?
Yeah. I didn't think the ending was any different than how number 2 ended. It was
with number 2, at least the corny romance was like playful, funny rom-com. It's like, oh, you guys. But at the end of this one, it's like, oh, sweet. It's like, but I had totally forgotten what they were alluding to, and it just didn't. I didn't get it. I had to look it up on Wikipedia in order to understand it. So
I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, let's not spoil anything. But sorry, Andrew.
I guess I'll tell you guys after, because I looked it up too, and I think a lot of it results from us not paying attention.
Well,
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, I'll give you that. We don't pay that much attention. And to be fair, we beat the entire game pretty much in just one day. So, like, a lot went by us, maybe, because we sort of have this whole, like, discussion thing while we're doing it. So, we could have missed something. But I'm not even talking about that, the real end. But I just thought the last level or so was just not as strong as the other parts of the game. It just...
wasn't there like in the second game? Didn't you also find like a lost city and do almost the exact same thing? Or something like that?
Pretty much. But I mean, like that's the. I mean, you were.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not really a spoiler because I talk about it the entire game. So
yeah. Well, what I'm saying is...
No, I'm trying to spoil. I'm just saying, like, I mean, that's a given though, because it was literally go find the lost city and then you do it. I don't know. I really liked the beginning of this game. I thought it was really interesting and stuff. So I think...
And they didn't have that, like, 900-hour train level. And they split it up. It turned into, like, a 50-hour multiple boat level, which was much more...
Actually, yeah, what am I talking about? I think it was a pretty decent game. It was...
No, it was a fun game. Just the ending was like, oh, it's...
Yeah. I was disappointed at the end, but I think... It's good. It's good. We'll leave it at that. It's great. It's amazing. I'll leave it at that, everybody. All right. What else do we have here? We kind of went on a tangent about that.
Did we talk about tabletops and role playing?
Thanks. We can talk about that if you want.
Sure.
We sort of touched on tabletops, but I guess the feel. I don't know I don't know how to phrase this. How do you think tabletops correlate into video games? Do you guys have any opinions on that? Or do you think they're just totally separate things? And if you like video games, you don't have to like tabletops. And if you like tabletops, you don't have to like video games. What are your...
I think aspects of tabletop games, like if you like them, then it helps you to get introduced into like computer games and whatnot. Because... like the aspect of designing a character from the ground up and giving him a backstory, like a typical Dungeons and Dragons experience, translates obviously really well into something like a popular MMO. Like, I don't know, WoW. It's obviously the most popular one. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I always liked about those sort of games where you get to make your own character and set up their backstory. Really just exemplify, be that character and when that works in both of them, and it just makes it really really easy to switch between them.
All right, well,
that came out really well.
Let's take a step even farther backwards, though. Something like we played a game called Power Grid, where you're basically just trying to take control of I guess electricity throughout the country. So it has nothing to do with role playing. It's just like your standard family board game. Do you think that correlates at all to video games? I guess let me say my opinion, I guess. I think that if you like video games, I think it's really easy to get into board games. Because, I mean, it's all gaming, I guess. It can still have the competitiveness, and it can still have, like, the fun, and it's something totally different than your real life. So I think stuff like Monopoly, although Monopoly isn't I don't like it. I don't like Monopoly. But, I mean, like, there's a lot of board games where, like, like Andrew, you can back me up on this if you want, or totally turn me down. But, like, at MagFest, they just had board games that, like, were on a huge spectrum. There was I'm gonna kill that dog. No, it was on a huge spectrum of, like, board games. Like, there was Monopoly there, which you wouldn't think there'd be. But, I mean, it's technically gaming, right? What are your thoughts? Like, is it still gaming? I mean, they're games.
Yeah, well, you bring up Power Grid, and I don't think you bring up Power Grid as an example of what gaming is, and I think by extension the Monopoly definitely would be as well, just because they're pretty much the same game.
Oh yeah, no, I just meant I don't like Monopoly. I think I'm including Monopoly, but I think everyone plays so much Monopoly that, like, maybe not everyone plays so much Monopoly, but I mean, like, everyone's pretty much played Monopoly, and a lot of people don't like it, so, like, I don't want to say Monopoly, like, because it has, like, a weird feel to it, but probably because it's, like, super competitive. It's, like, hyper competitive, I think. Yeah, I mean, is it gaming still? Do you consider them gamers? Like, if I go to MagFest and I say the only thing I play is whatever, we'll say Monopoly. I only play Monopoly. Am I a gamer or what? Do you guys have any opinions?
Well, I guess it depends on I guess it depends. I think different people have different definitions for what a gamer is. I don't think people define. I think there's a constant as far as how people define board games and how people define video games, but the variable is how they define what a gamer is.
Okay.
So I guess in my mind, the discussion isn't whether playing Monopoly is gaming or not. I think the discussion is, if you're a gamer, do you play Monopoly?
All right.
I'm flipping it around.
Good. Yeah. I guess, like, maybe it's just, like, my personality, though, but I guess I picture the reason I like video games is the same reason I like tabletops or board games. It's just like, or maybe it's just that board games are fun because they're games. I don't know. But I thought I would bring that up because we played a game called Munchkin and its variants. And it's certainly not a video game, but I mean, I can't say that I regret playing that because it wasn't on a screen, I think
one of the inherent differences is that a lot of video games, with the nature of Twitch gameplay, they involve, physical coordination, where board games are almost all mental all the time. So because there's less of a physical aspect, there's less of an immersive aspect in board games.
Okay.
You tend to think of them differently from video games, just because, a video game has a much more visceral component to it.
All right, that makes sense. I won't argue with that. Do you guys want to talk about our last topic, or do you guys have something else you'd like to bring up? Here, Eli, are you with us here?
I am.
Sure. All right, yeah, I wasn't sure if you muted your mic or anything.
No, I'm just listening.
Your cutie doggy was barking. Who I haven't seen yet, by the way. Eli.
She's adorable, I promise.
Okay, yeah, so we just wanted to talk about, just as like a throw into the discussion, I have no transition at all. But we wanted to talk about free-to-play games. More specifically on MMORPGs, I'm assuming. Eli, what did you think? Or just like free-to-play in general for everything?
Just the free-to-play, freemium type deal. How for me at least, I don't really like it. I would rather pay the full price of a game and then have every feature unlocked, and then if DLC comes out, it doesn't, I'm not forced. You're not forced. I don't feel like I'm really missing out if I don't purchase the DLC, but if I find it interesting, I will pay for it. Like I'm on because I feel like when you have the free to play or freemium where you can download the game for free, and then in order to get the items or usually specialty items, you have to pay real world cash. It creates scenarios like I'm on the Team Fortress 2 trading post right now, and I just clicked on recent, and like the 7th one down is someone selling an unusual medic hat, which is it's just like a cool looking German hat for the medic, and unusual means it has a symbol floating around it, and he's selling it for a copy of Skyrim. And the thing is, he's probably gonna get that. Like, that's not an unusual trade. He will probably get a copy of Skyrim for a virtual hat. And that just seems absurd to me. Like, it's so ridiculous. I can't wrap my head around that, the way people value these things. I just don't get it.
But with things like Team Fortress, I mean...
It wasn't always free to play.
Yeah, so... But I guess my issue is, with dedicated servers, they're paying always for them. You know what I mean? So it's like they have to have some way to have income other than actual game purchase. And I think that's why a lot of games either go under or they have to reduce the amount of servers as people leave because you have to pay for it. I guess I can bring up an MMO, right? We're not, or can I only talk about like Team Fortress? What are we?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. DC Universe. There we go. I totally forgot what I was going to say. It was it was pay to play because the reason that these companies have to make it pay to play is not only are they patching it constantly, which I think you have to do nowadays no matter what. We see that in shooters, so I'm not paying for patching. But as far as servers go, servers are expensive. Like when you have thousands of people, like it actually builds up. And I know like with World of Warcraft, I want to see if I can bring up a number here. I won't right now. While one of you are talking, I'll mute my mic and do it. But they pay a buttload of money for server space. So if people weren't paying, like, and 10 million people were playing, they probably would have to go under, only because they actually don't make that much money off of actual game purchases. And when you have a smaller game, I think their best bet to actually get income is just to like sell items. Just because people aren't gonna pay to play this game, period. I guess I'll talk about the Star Wars game that just came out, the MMO. Like, I think they're gonna have enough retention where people are gonna pay the whatever $15 a month to play it, where they're gonna be able to stay up above and keep it paid for. But there's very few games that you have to pay monthly to play, you know, and that's mainly just because if you kept it that way, you just wouldn't have people playing, period. But when it's something casual where it's like, I guess I'll pay for this hat just because I will, and then you only pay for like one hat a year, you're not paying anywhere near the amount you would, but they're still getting that extra revenue. So I think that's why a lot of people do it. Like, I'm just trying to like rule out like, man, they're jerks with their corporate greed. I just mean like, I just want to bring up, I guess, their point of view.
For me, I don't. It's not even about being upset at them for pigeonholing me into spending money so I can stay like competitive in the game. It's just it feels, cause I'm gonna keep going back to TF2 because that's like the most pertinent to me. The way you can get items in this game is either have them, or you can trade with somebody. So you give them something that they want, they give you something you want. You can buy them from the store, or you can find them. And there's like 400 items in the game, and you only get an item dropped, maximum like 11 per week, 1 every hour and a half. So the chances of you getting the exact item you want by having it drop are incredibly low. And in order to trade for it, then you have to go through those all those drop cycles to get an item to maybe get an item that's worth something to trade to somebody else to get the item that you want. So you almost feel like you have to buy something, and it's just frustrating because it's either buy it or don't get to enjoy the content. And Valve, the way their games work is most people just set up their own servers, so Valve doesn't really have to pay for servers, so it's even less necessary for them.
That's true, but they do. I mean, they still have some dedicated servers.
Yeah, they have like 20.
Yeah, but and that's the weird thing I think about TF2. I think it's a more unique case because it didn't go from like a monthly fee to this freemium. Is that what you've been calling it? It went from like it's a game you pay for to
and it was cheap when you bought it. It was only $20 and you got everything.
Yeah. To now it's totally free, and you can absolutely have you can have all the content. Like hats are neat, but I mean like everything's pretty much free. If you like playing TF2, yeah. So I mean I think that's a unique case where I'm sure they make a ton of money, but for like a really dumb thing. And do you think maybe like this whole freemium thing is sort of like insulting consumers' like intelligence almost? Just because it's like, I can play this game for free, but I'm going to give them more money than I have to, you know? I mean, you and I have both paid them money for things on TF2.
Dude, I spent like $50 in the Manco store, and I look back and what the hell was I doing?
Exactly. So do you think it's sort of like do you think it's a little underhanded the way they go about it for like aesthetic things, just sort of having you pay for it?
Yeah, especially those crates. Those bug me.
Yeah, see,
I don't even think if you can find the keys... But they throw crates at you, but you need a key to unlock it, and you could trade for a key. But keys are like unbelievably expensive, so it's I hate it.
I mean, and part of that though, it's a really interesting system, and I'm kind of excited to see. I'm gonna bring up Diablo 3 because the way they're gonna have real money auction houses, but it's gonna be kind of similar to that to TF2 because. I mean, you pay for the keys, but within the crates that you're opening is like could potentially be a hat that is worth real money to other people. Because now, like, the hat is in your hand, and it's...
Are we talking about Diablo or TF2?
TF2. Where, like, you open this crate, you get maybe nothing, but if you get a hat, you could sell it for Skyrim, like you were saying. So do you think, like, I mean, like, maybe you paid $50, but what if, like, you opened a crate and then all of a sudden you could get $100 out of it? Doesn't it sort of creates its own little, like, sub economy, I guess. Like, sure, there's like a third-party economy, I guess, because you can still buy stuff from the Manco store or something.
Yeah.
From Valve,
but it's like, it's gambling with awful odds, and then you have to barter with the items. So yeah, it's much more difficult to make money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not a good way to make money, but I mean, it sort of gives you something out of it. It's not like you're buying something stupid on like an MMO where it's like, you can pay for, I don't know, like a horse for 10 hours. It's like, I'm not paying $5 to ride a horse for 10 hours. Like, what kind of dumb game am I playing? But maybe I shouldn't be saying that. Like, maybe people do that and they like really enjoy it. But yeah, Andrew, you haven't talked at all.
Yes, I'm going to chime in. I haven't really talked because I'm not really familiar with all this business mumbo jumbo, and I don't really play free-to-play games. But I think, based on my knowledge, I think there's one game that's sort of doing this right. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong and tell me I'm stupid. But you're talking about TF2, where you know you can buy hats, but you can also get them by playing the game. It just takes a really long time and it's frustrating.
Like, here, let me put it this way. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have like 1,000 or so hours logged into TF2, maybe like 400 of those since like 600 of those since hats were implemented. I just got my first hat dropped after 600 hours this past week.
Okay.
Nice. What'd you get?
So,
I got a hat for the Scout. It's the batter's helmet, and it has 2 cans of soda on the side.
Oh.
And I traded it away. Yeah.
Great. Sweet. Andrew, what's up?
Anyway, so yeah, it sounds like a lot of time for trivial rewards that they're also asking you to buy. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but League of Legends, you can buy playable characters,
Yes,
right? But you can also
yeah.
unlock them through being good at the game and playing it.
Yes.
So I think that's a better medium where the rewards are greater and the time spent getting them is less. So they're sort of meeting in the middle where you're not forced to buy those rewards because they are feasible of getting in the gameplay.
Yeah, I think you can say that mainly just based on how many people play League of Legends. A lot of people really love the game, and like in case anyone's not familiar, I guess I'll explain it more. Every like time you win a battle, you get like these points, or I think you can get some if you lose too. I don't actually play, but like you want to win to get the more points, and these points add up. They're like battle points or something, and you can unlock a new character who you play as. The way League of Legends works is sort of like Warcraft 3. You have like a hero, and it's also sort of like you're defending stuff from an enemy team. It's a strategy-ish game, but you can also just pay. I think it's like outrageous prices, like $20 or something, to unlock the hero. But from just the people I've talked to, it only takes like a week of playing like quite a bit to unlock another character. And I mean, how often do you really need to change characters? You already start with like characters you get to try out, and then from there you can decide which one you want to go for. And plus, this is from I think it's by Riot Games. They have their own YouTube channel where they actually explain what each character does and ways to play it, and like what sort of like person might like this. Like, if you want some fast combat, you should try out this character. So it's like they give you all the information you need to make like an educated decision of which one you want to work towards, or you could just buy one. And I think I agree with you, Andrew. They're definitely doing it really well because like you're able to unlock everything. Because like any game where you have to unlock anything, like Super Smash Brothers, like anything like that, where you have to unlock characters, it's sort of like that. It's a little more playtime, but you also have the option to just pay and unlock more. So it doesn't really feel like they're cheating anybody, at least in my opinion. I don't actually play, so maybe they are. Maybe it does feel like they're greedy and cheating people, but yeah. But also for the quality of the game being 100% free, I'm pretty impressed myself. Like, from what I've seen, it looks pretty. It's definitely on par with some other games where you have to pay for them. So, I think it's a pretty decent game, and they are definitely doing the payment method pretty well. I guess since we're talking about payment methods, I sort of want to bring this up because this is really weird and I don't like it at all. Blizzard is coming out with this thing called Blizzard Bucks. I made that name up, and it might not be called that. I think it's called like BattleNet account money.
You heard it here first, everybody. Blizzard Bucks are coming, along with Half-Life 3.
No, you didn't. You didn't actually hear it here first. It's actually available for information. But what they're doing is you're able to put money onto Blizzard, and you're able to like your BattleNet account, and you're able to just like spend it on things that you want. So it's sort of like you. I don't really know how to. I guess it's like a gift card. You want to buy somebody, like, you could give somebody $50, or you could buy them a $50 Best Buy gift card, then give that to them, and then they're, like, limited in what they can spend. And they're just, like, doing that. What do you guys think of, like, what's the...
Wait, say that again?
So, it's like, you can use your credit card, put $50 into your Blizzard account, or your Battle.net account, and then, like, you can spend it on things that you want. But, like,
so would this go towards, like, say, buying, the mounts or the companions? Yep. Okay, so Absolutely. It's like a gift card for WoW items.
Yep, it's a gift card for WoW items or for Blizzard games also.
Oh, okay.
But it's fine. But I mean, like, I already have like a bank account. Why do I need to put my money into the Blizzard account to, It's just sort of.
So odd. Is this totally replacing being able to just pay with normal money?
I actually don't think so. That's
interesting.
So it's just sort of like...
I would say in that
so
case...
you just don't have to give them your credit card over and over again?
I think what it is, it's for people... I feel like I'm about to kill my whole point, but I think what it is, it's for people who are like, oh, I'm going to do an impression. I'm 12 years old, and I played Diablo 3. Oh, look, I'm going to stop that. I've made $20 on the Diablo auction house, but I don't have a bank account. But what you can do is you can designate that money to go into your Blizzard account, and and then that money can be like, oh, I can buy a Mountain Wow because I did this. So you can buy stuff with this money even if you don't have like a bank account and stuff. But like the problem I see with it is you have to pick. Like in Diablo 3, before when you list something on the auction house, you say, do you want real money or do you want Blizzard money? But it's just like, because you can't actually withdraw Blizzard money. So it's like, I don't know. It just feels weird. You can't withdraw Blizzard money. Like, once you put it into Blizzard, it's Blizzard's money. You're done. It's like you can't return a Best Buy gift card and get $50 out. Like, they have your money. So when you list something on the auction house, it's either Blizzard money or it's going to be real money.
If you get it in, like, real cash USD, is it just, wired into your PayPal account or something?
I'm assuming they're going to have another sort of balance. Like I guess it's gotta.
I mean, PayPal just makes sense.
I mean, yeah, but then there's sort of like, PayPal's like a third-party system. As much as it's like part of everyone's life, it's still like this like third-party thing or entity. So they might like just. I really don't know enough about it.
Oh, maybe Blizzard will make their own thing like BlizzPal, and then it's the exact same thing. But
well, it's like kind of what they're doing, except for the point where you can't withdraw. So it's like, well, I just feel really like I don't know, kind of.
Steam does the same thing though. Like you.
Yeah. Steam does the same.
You put your Steam cash in, and then it's only for Steam, and you can't take it back out.
Which is really kind of annoying because you can only pay in increments or something.
Yeah,
like $5.
I don't like that. They need to stop doing that.
Well,
it's not necessary.
Well, you know who did it first? Well, possibly first.
Who's that?
Microsoft. Microsoft points. What?
Yeah, also stupid. I'd rather just have them make deductions from my credit or debit card.
It's like, wow, I want to buy this thing. That's 800 Microsoft points. Oh, so I can only put 1,200 or 600 Microsoft points in? That is literally just thievery. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, who decided that this was okay? That's not okay. That's...
No.
Bad. That's just dumb. Andrew?
I just want to add that people can donate to our podcast in increments of either $5, $10, or $20. So I think that's a good time to.
In order to donate, you'll have to drive to my house and pay me in cash, if you want. Just saying.
If it's not too inconvenient.
In the show notes, I've got written right here. On these notes that I wrote, it's got my address, so you guys can just take a look at that and come on over. But, with Microsoft points as well, for normal games, you can just pay in cash, I'm pretty sure. In fact, I know you can. So, like, why do they
if you're buying a full game, then you can do it. But
it's like, if you're not
Microsoft points.
Yeah, but if you're not buying a full game, then you can't buy it with cash. It's like, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Nope.
Does anyone have like a happier note to end this on than us ranting?
I heard Diablo 3 is coming out in like April or May.
No, before then actually. It's coming out.
Even better news.
It's coming out in Q1 of this year, which
should
be
March or April or February. Probably not February.
I heard mid-February is possible, but
I heard that, but then I also heard that got debunked, and it's probably like March or April.
Duke Nukem himself told me it was coming out mid-February, so that's just some information I'll throw out there.
All right.
It doesn't matter because I already own it. And so do we. All right.
I'm gonna rip out your eyeball and tell you when Diablo 3 is coming out. All right. That's all for the show. I guess we'll wrap it up there. I guess that was a pretty casual. And, if you guys have anything you need to say about something, you can email it to us at wearepronto@gmail.com. WEAREPRONTO. Shift to gmail.com. So you guys can send anything you want. We are currently, sort of, very casually, looking for guests to come on. So if you have, like, some strong opinion, like, man, I love Microsoft points. These guys are dicks. You can be like, I want to be on the show and argue my point of view. You're welcome to do that.
Unless you're arguing
wrong.
That exact point of view,
you're arguing
in which
that point
case
of view.
you're not.
We might have to just cut you from that. But if you guys want to be on the show, you got some stuff you're opinionated about, or you're opinionated about something that doesn't have to do with video games, and you want to see what we think about it, you're more than welcome to come on or email us what we should talk about. Keep it not about politics, because we're going to sound like idiots.
Also cars. You don't know anything about cars.
Yeah, I guess. Eli knows a lot about cars, I think. Because to a car. Anyway, yeah, so email us like anything at that email, I guess, if you want. Thanks for listening, only person who listened to this.
It's me.
Cue. Oh, God. Cue outro music. We don't have